let's do a lunch and learn.
Hi.
Let's do a lunch and learn.
I love lunch and learn. I love lunch and learn.
Let's do a lunch and learn. We're going to learn some shit today. And the reason I've chose this subject, shall I tell you after we start the clock or what?
Yeah, let's make it a true lunch and learn.
True lunch and learn. So I'll tell you more about why after we've started the clock.
Okay.
Okay, this was just a thought that came into my head. So, we're going to start the clock now. We're going to go for 10 minutes, 23 seconds. Go. And today's Lunch and Learn, we are going to learn the history and the reason and the everything about condoms. And the reason for that is, I find these really interesting. We spoke about rubber last week, so I thought, well, why not bring it forward a little bit and talk about different types of rubber? Because I feel like I don't know anything about this. And I bet it was quite a massive thing in society when we started protecting against unprotected sex and also not having
birth control and disease control.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I thought we'd do. We'd learn the history of condoms.
Dude, that is
today.
A fantastic one because it's one of those ones that you don't think about. You know, like
also, I feel like the early models of these could be kind of funny.
Yeah, please, right? Let's do it. What have you got an article for me? In the chat.
So I've just taken I've just Wikipedia'd the history of condoms. So I'll put that in the chat right there for you. Yeah, I just searched history of condoms on Google and that's what came up.
Okay, nice one. Let's do it.
Okay. So, and this is I can't believe this is actually true, but anyway. So some contest that the condom was invented in America in 1839 by Charles Goodyear.
No.
So,
is that for real?
So, yeah. Other accounts attribute it to Thomas Hancock in Britain in 1843.
Wow.
Holy shit, dude. 1843. So, I'm going to go to the start of this. Okay, so the history of condoms goes back at least several centuries and perhaps beyond. For most of their history, condoms have been used both as a method of birth control and as a protective measure against venereal sexually transmitted diseases such as syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, hepatitis B, and most recently HIV and AIDS. Condoms have been made from a variety of materials prior to the 19th century. Chemically treated linen and animal tissue, intestine or bladder are the best documented varieties. Rubber condoms gained popularity. Yeah, please.
Can we pause?
Wait.
The guy that first put an intestine on his cock. What sort of creep? Imagine his girlfriend. She's just like, dude, I don't care about your ideas. He's like, look, stick with me. Stick with me.
Look, I've tied this knot in the end of this intestine.
So
and we're ready
stuff,
to go.
Dude, like that. So much stuff. You just think of the first people, the pioneers of anything. The pioneers of putting pig bladders around your willy.
Yeah.
They probably weren't celebrated in their time. They probably took that to their grave like, I knew it was a good idea. And then...
then they see him in shops all over the world like...
Just get in.
That's funny.
Sorry.
So intestine or bladder are the best documented varieties. Rubber condoms gained variety in the mid-19th century, and in the early 20th century, major advances were made in manufacturing techniques. Prior to the introduction of the combined oral contraceptive pill, condoms were the most popular birth control method in the Western world. Condoms have also become increasingly important in the effort to fight against AIDS pandemic. Okay, antiquity to the Middle Ages.
Mate, I've got another one here. This is haggard. The oldest condoms ever excavated were found in a cesspit located in the grounds of Dudley Castle. How miserable is that sentence? It couldn't be more miserable. Let me repeat again. The oldest condoms ever excavated were found in a cesspit located in the grounds of Dudley Castle. That is... I mean... I finished it too early. The grounds of Dudley Castle, and were made from animal membrane.
Oh,
come on,
mate.
Membranes in there. That's the worst sentence of the day, dude. Worst sentence of the day.
It is. Animal membrane is definitely the worst sentence of the day. All right, what else we got going on, man? I don't see.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I think just the very start must have been there's some real trailblazers there right at the very start. Like, what were they trying to do at the start? They were just trying to not have more children. Like, families were so massive back then, weren't they? In those times.
Totally.
Because you just used to get a kid per bang, basically, it would seem.
Yeah.
One every
Imagine
9 months.
Imagine that, dude. I have 3 kids.
You would have 3 kids, yeah. You'd have 3 kids and a hand job.
Yeah. But it says here, right, on another website I've found, which is actually a National Library of Medicine.
Yeah.
It says here, God, the first known documentation of the condom was that of King Minos of Crete in about 3000 BC. 3000. That's going way further back than what it initially said. He was referenced in various manuscripts, including the famous Iliad by Homer. Minos, the father of Minotaur, was said to have serpents and scorpions in his semen. His mistress died after having intercourse with him. So basically he had an STI, right? In order to protect himself and his partners, which included his wife, Pasiphae, the bladder of a goat was introduced into the woman's vagina, which protected the woman from disease. I mean, that's not really a condom, is it? It's more of a...
No, but I guess
I hate this word. Femidom.
It is. It's a femidom, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Why do they get so obsessed with the bladder? Is it because of its, like, stretchy properties? It must be, yeah.
It must be, yeah. It must be.
I guess, like...
The ancient Egyptians were one of the first civilizations to use sheaths. The Egyptians were known to have a very ritualistic culture which used symbols and calligraphy to denote objective and subjective communication. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just reading at the same time. They're tough, these lunch and learns. You're also reading but trying to...
Well, because you're lunching and you're learning. It's
physically learning.
Yeah, you're physically learning. Yeah, it is fascinating. I guess we're way more, like, connected with, like... you know, your lunch, you would actually, back then, you would actually kill the animal and, like, gut it. So then it probably, in everyone's head, they would probably like, the bladder's quite stretchy. Like, everyone would know it.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're really disconnected from that. It just seems bizarre. It seems like I'm not going to learn about a bladder now unless I go and find some roadkill, and, like, that would just make me a weirdo, especially if I ended up taking the roadkill and putting it onto my... Willy. I think Willy's the best word for that, because if you refer to your Willy in any other way, it's just a bit creepy, isn't it?
Totally.
One thing I'd never want to be is creepy.
Okay, we'll keep trying not to make you creepy. It says here about, like, popularity and how they started to become actually popular, and I guess in how we know them now. Condoms became better known throughout the 18th century, despite much opposition, like requests to the UK Parliament to outlaw condom use because it encouraged sex with unsafe partners. The condom market grew steadily and rapidly. They were even sold at pubs, theatres and barbershops in Europe. Up until the 19th century, though, condom use generally only occurred in the upper classes, mainly due to a lack of sexual education in the working class. There you go.
Wow.
Along came latex. So that's when Mr. Goodyear gets involved. Manufacturing with rubber kicked off during the Industrial Revolution in America, and in 1839, Charles Goodyear invented rubber vulcanization. The first condoms made of rubber were made in 1855, and by the 1860s, rubber condoms were being mass-produced. There you go.
So interesting, dude. Up to the 19th century as well, condoms were generally used only by the middle and upper classes. Perhaps more importantly, condoms were unaffordable for many. For a typical prostitute, a single condom might cost several months' pay. So it's like these things become, like, politicised, and they become like, oh, dude, imagine rinsing out an animal intestine tube.
Yeah. Only for someone else's Willy to go back inside.
Goodness.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh my goodness. It is crazy though, isn't it? You know how, like, historically, just, you realise that things do get repeated, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff does get repeated, like, medicine is expensive, and so it counts out people with less money, and it becomes exclusively for people with the money. So it counts out a large part of the population based on their wealth, and so then they don't get the same experience of life. So it's like it creates that divide. You can see why it happens, can't you? You can see why there are these divides in society. I'm not talking about I'm talking about just any kind of divide in society, rich and poor. I definitely feel it where I live. Like, you feel like, you feel like one or the other. You know what I mean?
Totally. I've just looked now at the value of the condom market worldwide, because I thought that would be
that is interesting. That is a good
going
fact.
up or down. Yeah. We've got 30 seconds left. So it's been going up since basically forever. So does that mean that people are using them more so they don't have kids, or does that? I don't know. We're kind of interested. Or is it just population growth as well? So at the moment it stands at about $5.8 billion.
There you go. Well, I mean, rate at which we reproduce is going down in a lot of countries. So
it is
fascinating.
It is
fascinating.
And there you go.
Stuff.
3, 2, 1.
Johnny's.
Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type The Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!